Hello, and welcome to the Watchman segment of our program. You know, people ask what's in a name. Names have reasons, meanings rather, and a lot of names have reasons that they're given. If the truth matters, then names also and nationalities have to have reason also. Nationality denotes a land and its people. And in biblical times, name had meanings and reason that was given to different people. It's just like when Yahweh changed Abram's name to Abraham. Abraham had a meaning. And when he changed Jacob's name to Israel, Israel had a meaning. When you read Genesis 32, verse 24 through verse 30, you see that Israel means a prince with Elohim. And what he did was he changed Jacob's name to Israel and gave him 12 boys. And out of those 12 boys came the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And the entire Bible is based on this people and written by the Hebrew Israelites. But today, people don't know where the Hebrew Israelites are. They say we have 10 tribes of people missing on this earth. No, we don't. We have 12 tribes of people that's misidentified. It's just like in the New Testament. The Messiah's name was Yeshua, which means Yahweh's salvation. And when you read Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 through verse 8, and then go and read Luke chapter 1, verse 26 through verse 33, and Matthew 2, verse 1 through 6, and Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 through verse 26, you'll find out that the Messiah's name, Yeshua, meant Yahweh's salvation. And the reason why the children of Israel needed saving was because the new covenant had to be made with our people. And Yeshua came to seal up the new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. And when you consult the Bible tells you that the Hebrew Israelites were people of color, what we like to call black today. But people say the names don't matter. Well, why is it that the Euro-Gentiles that came over here in America, why can they trace their roots back to Scotland, Germany, or wherever they came from in Europe? Different tribes and different clans. Well, that's because names denote people and their land. But with us, the Euro-Gentiles knew that Yeshua's name was Yeshua, but what they did was they gave me a Euro-Gentile on a cross. Well, if that's the case, then, and truth matters, then it's a pagan deity that they put on the cross, because they know, and the Bible backs up, that Yeshua, the Messiah, the Son of God, was a man of color. But see, we don't think this simply because of what we've been taught. Yahweh told us that while we're in our enemy's land, we won't be called by the name of Israel. Well, let's look at that. We have been called Negroes, blacks, coloreds, you name it, Afro-Americans, African-Americans. We've been known by many names, but the truth is, what man is trying to hide from us is the truth that we are the Hebrew Israelite. So when people tell you, look at the Messiah, and they're giving him an English name that has no meaning, we can very well see that this has to do with the paganism that man practiced. This is why man don't follow the rules and regulations that's written down in the Bible for man to govern himself by. And this is why when you look upon the earth, sin called crime is running rampant all over the earth, and man can't even contain it. Why? Because man is coming to the end of his reign upon this earth. Yahweh told Abraham we'd be here 400 years, and the things that would take place before our deliverance. But by us having different names and so forth, just like it spoke that would happen in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, then truly, by us having all these different names and so forth, then we can't trace our lineage back to any people and any land. We say we're African Americans, but we were coloreds before that. We was Negroes before that. We was blacks before that, and a bunch of other names. As a matter of fact, in Africa, they call us the Falasha, the Bantu, the Ashanti, the Limba, the Ebos, the Yoruba, all of those are the Hebrews that they didn't sell into captivity that's in Africa or even today. So names do have meaning. The word Ebos means Hebrew. So we can very well see the names have meanings, but when we listen to man said names don't have meanings. But why is that? This gives man an opportunity to practice his paganisms upon the earth and have the people in captivity that they keep away from their roots. Why? Because of who we are. We are the Hebrew Israelites, the chosen people of the true and living God. And Christ said himself in St. Matthew 15 chapter, verse 21 through verse 26, that he was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Why? Because we needed redeeming back to the creator of all things. And when you carefully read the book of Acts, which is the first 30 years of the church, you'll find that Paul was keeping Yahweh's holy days during the whole first 30 years of the church, and that he was teaching the Euro-Gentiles that salvation is of the Jews. Just because the Gentiles called them Christians first at Antioch, look at the other name they've labeled us. That doesn't mean that they were Christians because they were called that. When you go 10 years later in the book of Acts, you find that Paul said that he was a Jew of Tarsus. Now, this lets me know that names matter. The name Christ means, Christian rather, means follower of Christ. Well, Christ walked in Yahweh's law. He lived a perfect life on this earth. Now, if you call yourself a Christian, then this is the way that you should walk. But when we look at things that's happening today, the Christian don't do anything that Creator said but teach that prosperity doctrine. Why do you think they changed the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday? In the Bible, it was called the first day, but they gave it a name of their Teutonic God and then changed it to their Sabbath day. So you have to be careful to understand that name and nationality does matter. If it doesn't matter, why is it? Why wouldn't they put a Hebrew Israelite, a black Hebrew Israelite, on a cross and have that in their churches instead of the Gentile that they have on the cross? And truly, when you get back into history and read the history of things, you have to ask yourself, why is it that according to history, the Jews were sold to the Ethiopians between 70 and 100 AD for slaves in the salt mine, but then in 1948, these were black people. Then in 1948, we had some white people that come out of Europe that they set up in Israel as the Jews. Why not? We were here in this foreign country talking about we were African American. So as you see, names have meaning, so don't be deceived and to name your child something just because it sounds good. Always find out the meaning of the name that you name your children, because like I said, names have meanings and reasons, and in the Bible, everybody's name had a meaning and a reason, except when we get into dealing with the Gentiles in the New Testament, they name their children after trees and mules, and John was a blacksmith, so we got John Blacksmith's son. So be careful with to make sure that you find out who you are, because the Bible bless nations and people, and if you don't know which nation you came from, then you'll never know why Yahweh brought our people over here as captives here in America. My name is YaChov Ben